Facts, information, and skills acquired through experience or education, the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. Did you know that in the Bible, God has a special recipe in making anointing oil? Well, keep watching this video to find out exactly what this special recipe entails. God's recipe and instruction on how to make holy anointing oil is found in Exodus chapter 30, verses 22 to 32, according to the NIV version. And it reads, "Then the Lord said to Moses, 'Take the following fine spices, 500 shekels of liquid myrrh, half as much, that is, 250 shekels of fragrant cinnamon, 250 shekels of fragrant calamus, 500 shekels of Cassia, all according to the sanctuary shekel, and a hin of olive oil. Make these into a sacred anointing oil, a fragrant blend, the work of a perfumer. It will be the sacred anointing oil. Then use it to anoint the tent of meeting, the ark of the covenant law, the table and all its articles, the lampstand and its accessories, the altar of incense, the altar of burnt offering and all its utensils, and the basin with its stand. You shall consecrate them so they will be most holy, and whatever touches them will be holy. Anoint Aaron and his sons and consecrate them so they may serve me as priests. Say to the Israelites, 'This is to be my sacred anointing oil for the generations to come. Do not pour it on anyone else's body, and do not make any other oil using the same formula. It is sacred, and you are to consider it sacred.'" The first ingredient used to make the holy anointing oil is 500 shekels of liquid myrrh. Do you know what liquid myrrh is? Myrrh is a gum resin extracted from a number of small, thorny tree species of the genus Commiphora. Myrrh resin has been used throughout history as a perfume, incense, and medicine. Myrrh mixed with posca or wine was widely used in many ancient cultures to produce pleasurable feelings and as an analgesic. The second ingredient used is 250 shekels of fragrant cinnamon. In the 1st century AD, Pliny the Elder wrote of 350 grams of cinnamon as being equal in value to over 5 kilograms of silver, about 15 times the value of silver per weight. Used by medieval physicians used cinnamon in medicines to treat coughing, hoarseness, and sore throats. As a sign of remorse, Roman Emperor Nero ordered a year's supply of cinnamon be burnt after he murdered his wife. The spice was also valued for its preservative qualities for meat due to the phenols which inhibit the bacteria responsible for spoilage, with the added bonus being the strong cinnamon aroma masked the stench of aged meats. The third ingredient used is 250 shekels of fragrant calamus. Calamus root is a plant that has been used for many centuries in incense and cooking. Calamus root is a plant that grows in marshy soil and has been used for centuries by people around the world. It has been used as incense, to ward off evil spirits, and to make medicine. It's a semi-evergreen perennial with scented rhizomes, arching tapered reed-like leaves, and tiny yellow-green flowers. Calamus root is also known as sweet flag and has been used for centuries in incense, perfumes, food additives, and even medicines. Calamus use history dates back to around 2800 BC and is found in countries such as China, Japan, and India. It was an important herb in ancient Egypt, where calamus root was burned as part of the mummification process. The ancient Egyptians used calamus root in the kaifi incense recipes. The calamus plant was highly regarded by the ancient Greeks, who call it akoron or akoron, which means sweetness. Calamus root was considered a symbol of friendship in ancient Greek and Roman cultures. Calamus root was burned by priests of the ancient world to purify temples and sanctuaries. Calamus oil is one of the ingredients in the biblical anointing oil in Exodus chapter 30 verse 23. 500 shekels of Cassia is the fourth ingredient used in making the holy anointing oil. You may be so surprised to learn that most commercial ground cinnamon is actually cassia or a combination of cinnamon and cassia. This practice is permitted with no restriction by most countries, including the United States. So cassia is not necessarily another name for cinnamon. It is a completely different spice, although they are related. How is cassia and cinnamon produced? Cassia and cinnamon both come from the bark of a tree that is a member of the laurel family. To produce cinnamon, the tree's bark is harvested, dried and fermented, then its outer layer is removed. As it dries, the inner bark curls into thin strips or quills. Cassia is botanically known as Cinnamomum aromaticum or Cinnamomum cassia. It is harvested in a similar process as cinnamon, but it has a stronger flavor. The final ingredient used is a hint of olive oil. Now, olive oil was used to cook food in ancient days. This is what fed them. They used it to bring rest and comfort by applying it to their feet after a very long journey. They used it to pour on wounds to bring healing, and they used it to anoint kings, priests, and prophets. In Jewish tradition, olive oil symbolizes the divine presence. In the biblical text, olive oil is the main element of anointing. It is used in the royal sacraments and in the sacrament of baptism. The olive tree and its olive oil will have an essential place in the church of the 4th century. Those are all the ingredients used in God's recipe for the anointing. He required 5 specific ingredients for this holy anointing oil. This precious anointing oil was used to anoint kings and priests and to consecrate those things meant to be most holy. If we examine these 5 ingredients, we find a recipe to living an anointed life. A life God can pour out His blessing upon and use to accomplish His will and His purposes. A quick recap according to Exodus chapter 30 verses 22 through to 25. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Take the following fine spices, 500 shekels of liquid myrrh, half as much, that is 250 shekels of fragrant cinnamon, 250 shekels of fragrant calamus, 500 shekels of cassia, all according to the sanctuary shekel, and a hin of olive oil. Make these into a sacred anointing oil, a fragrance blend, the work of a perfumer. It will be the sacred anointing oil." And that's all for now. I do hope this has been informative. Can you remember all the ingredients used in God's recipe for making His holy anointing oil? Comment down below and let us know. I am Janila Williams and you're tuning in to Disciples Covenant Ministries. Thanks for watching.